The Rise and Shine podcast series is made possible by the generous support of Bonnie Vozar of Chicago, Illinois.
I explored and I lived a highly unorthodox life. I searched for the ultimate freedom wherever I could, and I discovered that for me, it was within the framework of Jewish life.
This is Rise and Shine, a podcast that offers timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations to fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note. Here is Adrienne Gold-Davis.
I can't be the only one whose mother said to her, "You know what I wish for you, young lady? I wish for you a kid just like yourself." Now, some of you may hear that as a compliment, maybe a blessing, that you should know the joy and the nachas that a dutiful daughter provides her loving mom. And if that's the way you heard it, well, then I suspect you are not smoking cigarettes at 13 like me, or climbing out your window and going to the clubs with your older sister's identification at 15 and a half. Now, if you were like me and you heard that, you understood that perhaps it was less of a blessing and more of a curse. That your mother wanted you to understand exactly what it felt like to have a seemingly untamable child, a child who had a will of iron and a mouth, a tongue like a machine gun, a daughter who would not take direction or follow them, a daughter born thinking she was 40, yes, I did, a Maserati engine stuck in a Volkswagen chassis, all revved up and not allowed to go anywhere. I couldn't wait to be an adult, to be independent, to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted to. It always makes me think of that great 70s book, Metropolitan Life, by the fabulous humorist Fran Lebowitz. She once said this. She said, "It's hard to be independent when your mouth is full of the oppressor's meatloaf." And boy, my friends, I talked with my mouth full, literally and figuratively. But in short, I think I just came out that way. You know, it's taken me my entire adult life to learn how to soften, how to yield, how to permit myself to need and accept and receive properly. And in retrospect, I see that I deprived my mother of the very thing a mother wants most, which is to be needed and also to be heeded. For her wisdom and her years and her passion for me, to be greeted with gratitude, not my gritted teeth, to feel like all the love and direction that she worked so hard to learn will come to benefit her child. Because who among us, let's be honest, wouldn't suffer all over again the pains of childhood and the journey to maturity if it could protect our kid and ease their path? So I'm sharing this with you because if you are a parent to a kid like I was, you may feel frustrated, stressed out, sad. So I want you to listen to the words of a phenomenal therapist and a parenting expert from Canada, Sarah Hannah Radcliffe. Here's what she said. A Jewish perspective can lift us out of our parenting stress and help us maintain the energy and perspective that will allow us to be guiding and healing forces in our children's lives. It starts with recognizing that parenting is not a competitive sport. The goal is not to raise the smartest, the most beautiful, successful child. Rather, the goal, as the Torah tells us, is to raise the child according to his way. That is, we are to help each child become the best that he or she can be, considering their unique combination of strengths and weaknesses. Thus, she writes, our job is to help strengthen the strengths and weaken the weaknesses of each of our children. And we accomplish this by following another Torah directive, to allow the right hand to draw the child near while the left hand pushes the child away. So the right hand is our stronger hand. That's the hand of love. Most of our parenting interventions should feel good to our children. They must feel loving. With the power of this love, we help the child identify with us and our goals for them. Love makes the child want to please us, emulate us, and avoid our displeasure. So what would have meant for me to be raised according to my way back in the day? Well, I'm simply not sure that raising me in my way would have been tenable or even legal. I would have been happy to stay alone at 8, at 7. I wanted to go to the mall alone even before that. Now, obviously, the simple answer here is just to give your mini-me, when I say mini-me, I mean someone like me, more space, more ability to make decisions, more independence. That way they don't have to go and do it behind your back, because kids like us are going to do what they wish anyway. Maybe a little more compassion for the child who hated being a kid, whose first words might have been, me do it myself. But in retrospect, I understand as a mother myself now that no matter how much we try and tailor our parenting to the child's needs, to the child's way, there will always be those kids who will bristle at the slightest direction or boundary or limitation. And all of our best attempts might not yield the results we were hoping for. You know, I know so many wonderful adults who were parented terribly, and some really terrible adults who actually had extraordinary parenting. So, go figure. That as a ritually observant Jewish woman, I would have discovered so much freedom attaching myself to as many of the 613 Torah commandments that I could. Me, who don't tell me what to do, was my middle name? Now, perhaps it was because it was my choice. I explored and I lived a highly unorthodox life. I searched for the ultimate freedom wherever I could, and I discovered that for me, it was within the framework of Jewish life. Now, I want to quote my favorite poet, Robert Frost. In 1954, he was asked about freedom, how it's defined. And here's a piece of a poem that he said. I find my greatest freedom on the farm. I can be a bad farmer or a lazy farmer, and it's my own business. A definition of freedom is being easy in your harness. I'm easy in my harness today. My life is less frenetic, and I've discovered that boundaries don't always hold you back. Sometimes they hold you close and safe. They can allow you to be creative and color within the lines. They can be the frame that enhances, not represses. This week, I want you to consider the other Maserati engines you know who, like me, were stuck in the Volkswagen chassis. Yes, they need to be parked at night like the other children do for their own safety, but could you consider a slightly wider garage? Could you let them from time to time rev their engines, give them a little more track to run on? But understand, eventually, they will learn that boundaries can be their friends and even the birthplace of their brilliance. And they will find their way back to a relationship that they never allowed themselves to take pleasure in. Look at me. I'm 66 years old, and I love and I need my mommy.
Thanks for listening to Rise and Shine. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to Momentum Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join Adrienne again next time for more timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations that fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note.
This podcast was made possible by the generous support of Bonnie Vozar of Chicago, Illinois. Spread the wisdom. Inspire Jewish individuals around the globe by supporting Momentum's podcasts. To sponsor, contact podcast@momentumunlimited.org. You're listening to a Momentum podcast. For unlimited inspiration, wisdom, and empowerment, visit momentumunlimited.org.